A financial auditor's scheme to vanish collapses into a gruesome murder mystery when his stolen kidney, impaled by a scalpel scrawled with "Traitor," emerges in a gore-smeared cooler, delivered to detectives with a venomous note. Greed carved his fate. Neil Wood, drowning in debt and stalked by a tax audit, faked a kidnapping to flee his stifling existence, only to be ensnared by a ruthless con artist and a wife craving escape. Shackled in a fetid hideout, Neil's body crumbled under rancid slop and fever until a faceless doctor, called to preserve him, sliced out his organ for a sinister trade, vanishing into the abyss. Who was this spectral surgeon, and what grudge fueled their mutilation? From a fabricated ransom to a conspiracy steeped in avarice, this true crime descent plunges into fraud, betrayal, and a stomach-churning organ trafficking horror that shattered Clifton, New Jersey. As Neil's corpse, ravaged by strangulation, starvation, and poison, was unearthed, the doctor's shadow lingered, taunting justice with silence. Dare to unravel the carnage of a kidney ripped in malice, or will this wrongful death's secrets rot in the dark? Neil Wood's Nissan Xterra hums under Vermont Crescent's flickering lamps, its engine cooling in the crisp Clifton, New Jersey night. A financial auditor at BDG Audit Limited, Neil clocks out from his office, his briefcase heavy with secrets, and vanishes. By 9 p.m., his wife, Bernice, dials NJPD, her voice trembling as she reports him missing. Neil, always tethered to routine, hasn't called or texted, a fracture in their 11-year marriage. Officers swarm the Xterra, abandoned in an alley, its driver's door ajar. Inside the glove compartment, a typed ransom note demands $200,000, its edges pristine, no fingerprints to betray its author. The words, cold and calculated, ignite a murder mystery that will unravel a web of fraud and betrayal. Clifton's suburban pulse quickens as police cordon the scene. Bernice, a pillar in community NGOs for homeless children, pleads for Neil's return, her composure a mask for a marriage strained by unspoken resentments. NJPD Detective Lael Davis, a homicide veteran, notes the note's polished tone, lacking the frantic scrawl of a true kidnapper. No blood, no shattered glass, no signs of struggle, only silence where chaos should reign. Neil's phone and wallet are gone, but the Xterra's keys dangle in the ignition, a deliberate taunt. Behind BDG's glass facade, Neil's life was crumbling. 5 maxed credit cards, 3 overdue loans, and a bank balance of $120 choked his ambitions. A tax audit loomed, threatening to expose discrepancies in his filings, a noose tightening around his career. Bernice, tethered to their Clifton home, shared the financial strain, her NGO work a veneer over a partnership fraying at the seams. The ransom note, demanding a sum Neil could never muster, feels like a chess move in a game only he understood. Was it a cry for rescue or a calculated exit? Detective Davis digs deeper, sensing a conspiracy beneath the surface. The note's precision, typed on standard paper, suggests premeditation, not panic. Vermont Crescent, a bustling corridor, should have witnesses, yet no one saw a struggle, no one heard a scream. A GoFundMe, launched by a family friend, surges to $45,000, fueled by Clifton's goodwill, while BDG Audit pledges a $20,000 reward. Bernice's public grief, broadcast on local news, stirs sympathy, but Davis notes her eyes, sharp, not shattered. The absence of ransom follow-up gnaws at the investigation, a void where demands should echo. Neil's disappearance isn't just a kidnapping, it's a riddle wrapped in debt and desperation. His office desk, cleared of personal effects, hints at a man preparing to flee. Bernice's NGO events, once a joint endeavor, saw Neil absent in recent months, their unity a facade. Davis orders a sweep of Neil's digital trail, suspecting the ransom note masks a deeper fraud. As Clifton streetlights dim, the Xterra stands as a silent sentinel, its note a gateway to a wrongful death yet to be uncovered. Something darker lurks, a betrayal poised to claw through the shadows of Neil's vanishing act. The ransom note's sterile words haunt Detective Lael Davis as NJPD combs Neil Wood's abandoned Nissan Xterra. Demanding $200,000, it sits uncreased in the glove compartment, its typed precision a mockery of a true kidnapper's haste. Clifton's Vermont Crescent, alive with evening traffic, yields no witnesses, no frantic calls reporting a struggle. The silence screams conspiracy, and Davis, a homicide sleuth with a nose for fraud, senses Neil's disappearance is no ordinary kidnapping. The note's formality, dissected by forensic linguists, lacks the raw urgency of extortion, hinting at a calculated betrayal within a murder mystery. Neil's financial ruin surfaces like a corpse in a shallow grave. 5 maxed credit cards, 3 delinquent loans, and a $120 bank balance paint a man drowning in debt. A tax audit at BDG Audit Limited threatened to unravel his career, each discrepancy a blade to his reputation. Davis uncovers a burner phone purchase caught on a Clifton Electronics store's grainy footage, Neil's face half hidden under a cap, paying cash days before vanishing. The transaction, deliberate and covert, suggests a man scripting his own exit, not a victim snatched by force. Jacob Kimono, a homeless drifter, shuffles into the NJPD with a flyer clutched tight. He saw Neil, calm and purposeful, sliding into a gray Volvo near Vermont Crescent. No shouts, no resistance. The sighting, unverified by cameras, tilts the case toward fraud, a staged kidnapping unraveling under scrutiny. Bernice Wood, meanwhile, channels Clifton's sympathy through a GoFundMe, amassing $45,000, while BDG's $20,000 reward fuels hope. Yet Davis notes Bernice's calculated poise, her NGO work for homeless children a shield for something unspoken, her grief too polished for a frantic spouse. The GoFundMe's funds, meant for ransom, sit untouched, no demands following the note's bold claim. Davis's team probes Neil's digital shadow, finding no calls, no texts, only a powered-off phone pinging near the alley. The Xterra's untouched interior, no scratches, no fibers, feels staged, a prop in a larger deception. Bernice's public pleas, aired on local stations, draw donations, but her delayed responses to New Jersey Police Department requests raise flags. She siphons $22,500 from the fund, claiming it's to safeguard the money, a move that smells of opportunism. Clifton's community rallies, unaware of the conspiracy brewing. Neil's desk at BDG, stripped bare, whispers of a man severing ties. His absence from Bernice's NGO events, once a shared passion, hints at a marriage buckling under debt's weight. Davis, piecing together the burner phone and Kimono's account, suspects Neil orchestrated his vanishing, but the ransom's silence gnaws. Why craft a note, then vanish into thin air? The answer lies beyond the Xterra's cold steel, a betrayal that will spill into a wrongful death, a kidney stolen in malice, and a doctor's shadow waiting to emerge from the dark. Neil Wood's desk at BDG Audit Limited sits barren, a ghost of his former precision. Once a meticulous financial auditor, Neil's final weeks in Clifton, New Jersey, reveal a man unraveling. His colleagues whisper of missed deadlines, curt emails, and lunches spent staring at blank spreadsheets. The tax audit looming over BDG, probing Neil's client filings, cast a shadow he couldn't escape. 5 maxed credit cards, 3 overdue loans, and a $120 bank balance shackled him to a life teetering on collapse. In his Clifton home, the fracture deepened. Bernice Wood, his wife of 11 years, cloaked her discontent in community work, her NGO efforts for homeless children a polished facade masking a marriage buckling under debt's weight. Detective Lael Davis, New Jersey Police Department homicide, sifts through Neil's digital remnants, uncovering draft emails labeled, "If I'm gone," cryptic pleas hinting at a deliberate exit. The ransom note, demanding $200,000 from his abandoned Nissan Xterra, feels less like a kidnapper's demand and more like a calculated misstep in a fraud unraveling. Bernice, meanwhile, commands Clifton's sympathy, her tearful pleas for Neil's return fueling a $45,000 GoFundMe. Yet Davis catches her siphoning $22,500, her excuse, safeguarding the funds. ringing hollow. Her delayed responses to police queries, coupled with a rehearsed grief, ignite suspicions of betrayal. Clifton's community, blindsided by Neil's vanishing, recalls a couple once united at NGO Gallus, now distant. Bernice attended alone in recent months, her smile tight, Neil's absence unexplained. Davis probes their home, finding unpaid bills stacked like tombstones, a stark contrast to Bernice's public poise. The GoFundMe, meant to save Neil, grows untouched, no ransom demands following the note's bold claim. NJPD's forensic linguists dissect the note's sterile phrasing, confirming it's a product of intent, not panic. Neil's burner phone, purchased days before, suggests a man scripting his own disappearance. But to what end? A shadow emerges in Neil's digital trail, encrypted dark web chats, uncovered by NJPD's cyber unit, linking him to a Wallington contact, Boss Wally. The alias, tied to a $12,000 payment, hints at a hired accomplice, a conspiracy lurking beneath the kidnapping surface. Davis, sensing a deeper murder mystery, orders a trace on the chats, but the trail phrase, the contact's identity, obscured. Bernice's NGO work, once a beacon, now feels like a shield, her late-night phone calls to unknown numbers raising flags. Was she complicit, or merely a bystander in Neil's desperate gambit? The Xterra's untouched interior, parked on Vermont Crescent, taunts investigators. No fingerprints, no fibers. Just a note and a void where answers should lie. Neil's audit troubles, debts, and cryptic emails paint a man cornered, but Bernice's calculated moves suggest a partnership turned to ash. As Clifton's hope for Neil's return dims, Davis braces for a darker truth, a wrongful death veiled by a ransom note's lie, poised to erupt with a betrayal that will stain the town's quiet streets. Carlos Theodore, a Wallington, New Jersey con artist with a trail of wire fraud convictions, lurks in the shadows of Neil Wood's staged kidnapping. Hired for $12,000 via dark web chats under the alias Boss Wally, Carlos was Neil's pawn to orchestrate a vanishing act. But on a desolate Passaic backroad, Carlos turns predator, intercepting Neil with chilling precision, guided by geolocation pings from their encrypted exchanges. Shackled in a chain of hideouts, Passaic's crumbling warehouses, Patterson's abandoned flats, Hackensack's derelict motels, Neil's fraud collapses into a real nightmare, a murder mystery steeped in betrayal. NJPD's surveillance captures Neil, gaunt and stumbling, withdrawing $400 at a Lodi ATM. Carlos's gray Volvo idling nearby, the last glimpse of a man clinging to life. A second ransom demand, a sloppy text to Neil's uncle Robert Wood, demands a Cedar Grove drop, its errors glaring against the original note's polish. Detective Lael Davis, piecing together the conspiracy, notes the text's desperation, a sign Carlos has seized control. The GoFundMe, swollen to $45,000, remains untouched, its purpose twisted by greed. Bernice Wood, initially unaware of Carlos, enters the fray when he, cornered by NJPD's tightening net, reveals his role. Fearing arrest before the ransom's payout, Carlos contacts Bernice, offering a cut of the GoFundMe and a ticket out of Clifton. Her marriage, a 11-year cage of debt and resentment, crumbles as she agrees, supplying Neil's schedules and bank details via encrypted texts. Bernice's NGO facade, once a pillar for homeless children, masks her hunger for escape, her betrayal sealing Neil's fate in a kidnapping turned deadly. Davis's team traces Carlos's movements, toll booth cameras catching his Volvo slicing through Jersey's dusk. The ATM footage, paired with the Cedar Grove text, confirms a con artist off-script, his plan unraveling under pressure. Neil's captivity, marked by rancid food and filth, sparks a grim twist. Illness festers, forcing Carlos to seek a doctor to keep his captive alive for the ransom. Unbeknownst to him, this choice will birth a horror beyond his control, a wrongful death carved by a phantom scalpel. Clifton's faith in Bernice erodes as Davis uncovers her texts, each message a nail in Neil's coffin. The Xterra's ransom note, once a beacon of hope, now mocks the town's trust. Carlos's hideouts, littered with Neil's belongings, yield no clues to his current fate, but the second demand's sloppiness betrays a fracturing scheme. As NJPD closes in, a blood-streaked cooler waits in a Wallington warehouse, its contents poised to shatter the case, plunging this true crime descent into an organ trafficking abyss that will haunt Clifton's quiet corners. A rusted lock snaps under New Jersey Police Department's bolt cutters in a Wallington warehouse, its air thick with decay. Detective Lael Davis, leading the search, uncovers Neil Wood's briefcase, its leather scuffed, beside a burner phone, both planted like bait. But a blood-streaked cooler, hidden in a shadowed corner, unleashes a chilling horror. Neil's kidney, sealed in a biohazard bag, pierced by a scalpel blade etched with "Traitor" in jagged scars. This organ trafficking nightmare thrusts Clifton's murder mystery into a darker abyss. The ransom note's fraud, now a prelude to a wrongful death carved in flesh. Forensic analysts trace the blade to a stolen Patterson Clinic supply, its surgical precision pointing to a vanished doctor, unknown to Carlos Theodore or Bernice Wood. Neil, captive in Carlos's squalid hideouts, succumbed to food poisoning and filth, his fever spiking as the GoFundMe's $45,000 grew. Carlos, desperate to keep his pawn alive for ransom, sought a doctor through underworld contacts, unaware the physician excised Neil's kidney for a black market trade. The cooler, mailed anonymously to Davis with a scrawled note. He bled for greed, hints at a vendetta, perhaps tied to Neil's audit discrepancies, its sender a phantom in the conspiracy's web. Davis's team scours the warehouse, finding traces of Neil's captivity. Moldy wrappers, a stained mattress, a cracked water jug. The kidneys theft, a surgical violation, reframes the kidnapping as a calculated betrayal. Carlos's greed eclipsed by a deeper malice. Clifton's hope for Neil's return, fueled by Bernice's NGO-driven pleas, curdles as the organ's discovery leaks to local news, shattering the town's trust. The doctor's absence, despite NJPD's clinic raids, fuels a haunting dread, the scalpels etching a taunt that justice may slip through the cracks. The Xterra's ransom note, once a beacon, now mocks Clifton's faith. Davis, gripping the biohazard bag's weight, senses the conspiracy's layers peeling back, each clue a step toward a corpse yet to be found. As Wallington's warehouse doors creak shut, the kidney scar whispers of a doctor's cold intent, a shadow poised to haunt the murder mystery's next turn. Detective Lael Davis's flashlight cuts through NJPD's digital forensics lab, where Bernice Wood's encrypted texts to Carlos Theodore glow like confessions. Sent after Neil's disappearance, they map a conspiracy born of greed, Bernice supplying Neil's schedules and bank details for a slice of the $45,000 GoFundMe. Carlos, a Wallington con artist, weaves a tighter noose, his gray Volvo tracked by toll booth cameras through Passaic, Patterson, and Hackensack. A Passaic store's CCTV captures him buying a disposable phone, his face taut, unaware of the organ trafficking horror that sealed Neil's wrongful death. Neil's captivity, pieced together from hideout scraps, reveals a man ravaged by food poisoning, starvation, and dehydration. Carlos, needing Neil alive for ransom, sought a doctor, ignorant of the kidney's theft, until NJPD's warehouse find. Bernice, confessing after a failed polygraph, admits joining Carlos post-disappearance, lured by escape from her debt-choked marriage and Clifton's confines. Her NGO work, a beacon for homeless children, cloaked her betrayal, her texts devoid of remorse. The kidney's scalpel, etched "Traitor," baffles investigators. Its Patterson Clinic link a dead end. The doctor's trail vanished like smoke. Davis's team reconstructs Carlos's movements, GPS pings aligning with the Lodi ATM, where Neil, bruised and fading, withdrew $400. The Cedar Grove ransom text to Robert and Melinda Wood, sloppy and desperate, betrays Carlos's fraying control. Bernice's $22,500 GoFundMe siphon, flagged by bank records, cements her role in the fraud. Clifton's outrage simmers, its trust in Bernice's charity shattered by her calculated deceit. The murder mystery, now a public wound. The warehouse cooler's blood-streaked weight lingers in Davis's mind, the scalpel's traitor a riddle unsolved. As NJPD tightens its net, Carlos's hideouts yield no doctor, only echoes of Neil's torment. The conspiracy's threads, fraud, kidnapping, betrayal, not tighter. But the phantom surgeon's shadow stretches, a chilling promise of answers buried in Clifton's fractured heart. Carlos Theodore's rented Volvo truck screeches to a halt near Garfield, New Jersey. Police department sirens piercing the dawn. Arrested with fake IDs and a loaded firearm, the Wallington con artist faces charges of murder, kidnapping, and extortion, his Boss Wally alias a hollow mask. Detective Lael Davis, orchestrating the takedown, watches Carlos's defiance crumble, his ignorance of the kidney trafficking horror no defense. Bernice Wood, unmasked by her confession, is cuffed in Clifton, her $22,500 GoFundMe theft, fueling conspiracy, wire fraud, and obstruction charges. The murder mystery that gripped Clifton now demands justice. Evidence mounts like a tidal wave. Toll booth footage tracks Carlos's Volvo through Jersey's underbelly, linking to the Lodi ATM where Neil withdrew $400, his face hollowed by captivity. The Cedar Grove ransom text, error-riddled and desperate, ties to Carlos's disposable phone, bought on Passaic's CCTV. Jacob Kimono's sighting of Neil entering a gray Volvo, paired with forensic traces from the Wallington cooler's scalpel, seals the kidnapping's truth. Bernice's encrypted texts, exposing her post-disappearance pact with Carlos, reveal a betrayal born of greed, her NGO halo tarnished by fraud. Clifton reels as Bernice's allies in homeless children's charities recoil, their faith in her shattered. The GoFundMe, meant to save Neil, becomes a symbol of deception, its funds frozen by NJPD. The kidney's traitor etching, tied to a stolen Patterson Clinic supply, haunts Davis, the vanished doctor's role, a gaping wound in the case. Carlos's hideouts, swept clean, offer no medical traces, confirming his unawareness of the organ trafficking that compounded Neil's wrongful death. Davis stands amid Garfield's arrest scene, the cooler's blood-streaked memory, a grim anchor. The conspiracy, forged in a ransom note, fueled by Bernice's ambition, has collapsed, but the doctor's absence gnaws. As Clifton streets buzz with outrage, a storage container's lock awaits, its contents poised to unveil Neil's final torment, a testament to a murder mystery's unrelenting grip. A Garfield storage container's door groans open, revealing Neil Wood's corpse beneath a tarp, a brutal epitaph to Clifton's murder mystery. The autopsy details a harrowing end, asphyxiation by strangulation, food poisoning, starvation, dehydration, and trauma from a stolen kidney, his body scarred with bruises and lacerations. Detective Lael Davis, standing over the remains, sees the traitor scalpel's echo in Neil's surgical wound, the vanished doctor's handiwork a chilling void. The trial, months later, lays bare a conspiracy of fraud and betrayal, its verdict a reckoning for a wrongful death. Carlos Theodore, the Wallington con artist, earns life without parole, his Boss Wally scheme crushed by evidence. GPS pings, toll booth footage, Passaic CCTV, and the Cedar Grove ransom text. Bernice Wood, her NGO legacy in tatters, faces 22 years for conspiracy, wire fraud, and obstruction, her encrypted texts and $22,500 GoFundMe theft damning her. Jacob Kimono's testimony, alongside forensic analysts and Carlos's associates, cements the kidnapping's descent into murder. Clifton's courtroom, packed with betrayed neighbors, absorbs the weight of a town deceived by Bernice's calculated mask. The kidney's theft, traced to a Patterson Clinic stolen supply, remains an enigma. NJPD's raids yield no doctor, only theories. A black market surgeon, perhaps an audit victim with a scalpel's grudge. The biohazard bag, mailed to Davis with "He bled for greed," taunts justice, its sender a phantom beyond reach. Neil's death, a cascade of torment, poison, hunger, organ trafficking, stains Clifton's quiet streets. The Xterra's ransom note, a lie that birthed a nightmare. Neil's funeral, sparsely attended, unfolds in a Clifton cemetery, the GoFundMe's $45,000 frozen, its hope extinguished. Bernice's former NGO allies shun her, their charity tainted by her greed. In closing the case file, Davis feels the doctor's absence like a splinter, the traitor etching an unsolved riddle. As Clifton's wounds scar over, the organ trafficking horror lingers, a shadow cast by a scalpel's cold edge, whispering of secrets yet to break the surface. Thanks for watching. For more chilling cases and untold truths, hit subscribe and stay alert, because the darkest stories are often the ones closest to home.